Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and what I want to do today is actually fill a request that I've gotten several times, and that's actually talking about my dual joystick setup. For those of you that don't know, I utilize an X52 Pro in my right hand. My left hand is the T16000M, so I'm going to kind of run through how I've actually got this configured. In my right hand, I've actually got the very standardized joystick setup. You know, on the Y-axis, I've got pitch up and down. On the X-axis, I've got roll, and on the Z, which is the twist, I've actually got my yaw back and forth. Now, where things get a little bit more interesting and preference-based is going to be on your left hand, and people do this a lot of different ways, so I'm just going to basically show you how I've got mine currently set up. And what I've done is I've replaced the throttle. I'm not using it at all, and I don't even actually have any throttle settings on my joystick at all. It's basically set to where I'm just neutral. I've got no momentum at all, and if I'm forward, I'm going full speed. Same thing with backwards. Now, the way that I actually have this configured, and people again do this in several different ways. I'm going to go ahead and just show you this in the controls. Joystick, HODIS, advanced. We want flight movement. Always hides up there. So here's the primary ones I mentioned, you know, Y, Z, and X for my primary movement on my right hand. That's input 2. On my left hand is where things get over to how I'm using it today. Primarily right here on my... So strafe up and down is actually on this hat switch right here. So pushing it up, I go up. Pushing it down, I go down. You know, strafing left and right, that's going to be on the X-axis. So it's going to be these types of movements. Throttle up and down, I've also got on the Y-axis as well. So that's where the throttle comes into play a little bit for me. And this is going to be, you know, utilizing the forward is how it's going to be. So, you know, this is probably 5%. This is probably 50%. That's 100% throttle. The key there is also to make sure that you're binding strafe back to Y. Now, obviously, strafe back is going to be relying on you pulling back, and that's how I'm actually going to be moving backwards as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just back out of this, and I'll kind of show you some of those movements. There are a few other things that I've actually bound here, primarily being afterburner and boost. My boost is actually right here. It's my trigger. So when I'm flying around and conducting maneuvers, I'm actually using this to kind of get that extra thrust. My boost, or my afterburner, excuse me, is actually this one right here. Oh, what did I just do? Did I just rebind the right thing? Yeah, I think I did okay there. My game locked up. Okay. So I don't know what ended up happening there. So either way, they kind of froze. You're going to notice a funny edit there, but the system's back up and working. So basically what I was trying to say is this right here is my afterburner, or my boost. This right here is my afterburner. Outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot on here. I've added, you know, changing my countermeasure type here, and then I've actually got deployment of countermeasures on my right hand. So I've got quite a few things that are set on this. I'm not using this for anything at the moment, but again, that's where I may get into a little bit more customization. So what this actually ends up looking like in flight is basically, you know, throttle up. I'm all of a sudden strafing to the right while I'm throttling. You know, I can add some strafe to it as well. And basically what you get is everything as far as the direction your ship is pointing is on my right hand. Everything that's about the direction the ship is going is in my left hand, which ends up making this a very natural transition because you're kind of used to similar things from FPS. You know, you're using WAS and D on the keyboard to control the movement of your character, but the direction that you're facing and aiming is on the mouse. It's kind of a similar concept to that. It's just going to be a little bit more analog since you're actually using a joystick instead of actually relying on something else. But what you do get out of this is a finer level of control. You know, you can do different things than you'd be able to do if you had a throttle. For example, on my throttle, I've used things like the little hat switch on the backside to do some of the strafing, but you get nowhere near the same level of control and responsiveness that you do on something like this. So that's kind of my basic setup on how I've got my controls set. There's people that do a lot more advanced things than I'm doing here. A lot of people, for example, will do strafe up and down on the Z-axis over here. You can see I don't have it set to anything, and the reason for that is when I'm flying around all aggressive-like, I'm typically, you know, twisting my joystick a little bit anyways, and I'm not necessarily wanting to strafe up or down. But then actually, since I'm not using this key here, you know, just using the little hat switch to be able to do strafe up or down isn't a real nuisance to manage. So Again, that's where the kind of customization comes in. You're going to have to play with it and figure out what works best for you. But for me, this is kind of what provides that naturalness to it. And I'm going to just show you just a quick footage of some Vandal Swarm where I'm recording this. Hopefully that'll help you get a little bit more clarification on how this is actually working in combat. And then, you know, obviously in the questions, or in the comments, let me know if you have questions. So, jumping into Vandal Swarm now. Stay tuned for more content coming your way soon, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care.